Hi, friends. So, some shows come into your life when you least expect it, and then they end up staying with you forever. For me, that show is MASH. I first stumbled across it one summer. I think I was 10 or 11. I was really bored and had nothing to do, and I started watching a couple episodes on TV and was just instantly hooked. The humor, the heart, the way the characters became my friends, it all drew me in. And over time, it has become one of my all-time favorite shows. Fast forward to 2019, I discovered a podcast called MASH Matters, hosted by Ryan Patrick, who's a longtime fan of the show, and Jeff Maxwell, who actually played Private Igor on the show. And I was so thrilled to find people actually talking about the show that I loved so much. And I even wrote them an email, and they actually read it on the show. And here's a bit of what I said. I wrote, "I'm not your average MASH fan. I'm a young South Asian Canadian woman, and my love for MASH goes back many years to before I even started high school. I started watching it on TV and slowly collected all the DVDs. I never knew anybody else who watched the show, though, so it became a very personal connection for me. In a way, it isolated me from my peers, but it also gave me happiness and comfort. Whenever I was sick, visiting the doctors and nurses at the 407 7th was just as good as any medicine. The characters feel like family to me, and they've been a source of comfort whenever I've gone through something difficult in my life." So that was part of my email. It was actually pretty long. I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but I'll never forget the day they read it on the show. It was actually during COVID, shortly after I got married, and I was sitting on the couch just listening to the episode with my headphones on, and suddenly I heard Ryan start to read words that sounded very familiar, and my jaw dropped. I had to pause and rewind, and then I heard them actually say my name and start reading my words, and it was just so exciting to hear it, quote unquote, on air. In that same email, I mentioned one of my favorite episodes called Morale Victory, and there's a scene where Charles is convincing a soldier not to give up on himself, because that soldier is actually a concert pianist who believes that his career is over because he's lost the use of his hand. And I had written this whole blog post about it because that episode really meant a lot to me. And I shared it with Ryan and Jeff. And Ryan actually passed it along to the writer of the episode, Mr. John Rappaport himself. And John responded with appreciation for my words. I couldn't believe it. It was really exciting to know that the writer of one of my favorite scenes in all of television heard about it and understood how deeply it affected me, and that was such a powerful moment for me. And later, when MASH Matters started a Patreon, I signed up right away. And one of the perks is a Zoom call with Jeff and Ryan, and I was so excited to actually see them and talk to them. We talked about my love for MASH, about their podcast and life in general, and how I was trying to get my husband to watch the show, and I think I only got him to watch the first couple episodes, but he didn't get into it as much as me, which is fine. And then after I moved from Ontario to BC, I launched my own editing and proofreading company, and I offered to create transcripts for MASH Matters. And they agreed. They gave me shout outs on the podcast. It just all felt so surreal to hear my name on a podcast that I admired so much. I'll admit, though, with life being so busy, I've only made it through transcribing up to episode 8. But the fact that I get to go back and listen to the episodes and pick up all these little tidbits that I had forgotten about and get to contribute something to the show that has given me so much joy, it just means so much to me. And when I think about it, MASH has been with me through so many different stages of my life. From being a teenager watching the DVDs to a frontline worker as a registration clerk in the emergency department for many years. That job actually felt like radar. To being a newlywed during the pandemic and hearing my email read aloud, quote unquote, on air, to now finding community through the podcast and even being able to contribute in my own way. And for me, MASH is more than just a TV show. It's comfort, feels like family, and it's a reminder of how stories, whether they're on the screen or they're written or they're in podcasts, They connect us across generations and really across the world. So are you a fan of MASH? Have you tried watching it? Do you have a favorite episode, a favorite character? Let me know. I'd love to hear about it. And until next time, take good care of each other.